Hello and welcome to today's training webinar titled Implementing Your Church Communications with Church360 Unite. My name is Stephen Jenkins and I'm a software consultant for Concordia Technology Solutions. I've been with the company about 2.5 years. Here's my phone number and my email address on the screen. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about Church360 Unite or any of our software products. Little housekeeping to go through before we get started. We've planned 50 minutes for this webinar presentation, and the last 10 minutes will be reserved for your questions. Hopefully we can stick to our schedule, but depending on how fast I cover the software, this outline can change just a little bit. Feel free to post your questions throughout the webinar in the chat box, and I'll try to answer all of them at the end of the presentation. If I run out of time or there's a question that I can't answer immediately, I'll be sure to contact you directly via the email and provide an answer before the end of the day. This webinar will be recorded, so don't feel bad if you need to step away for any reason. We're going to email a link to the video, and so that everyone who registered can have that link and share it with anyone that you'd like. I want to give a little history about Concordia Technology Solutions. We are the software division of Concordia Publishing House. Here's a picture I like showing of us at the 1904 World's Fair. As you can imagine, the world was a lot different 113 years ago. There were no computers or software in those days, but as you can see, we've been in the publishing industry for a very long time. We started developing software for churches in 1984, and some of you may be familiar with our PC-based software, Church360, and it actually works with Church360 Unite. In 2010, we developed our web-based software called Church360, which Unite is a part of. And there's a picture of our Innovation Center, and this is where our developers go to brainstorm and share ideas of how to further develop our software. Again, to clarify, Concordia Technology Solutions is the church administrative division of Concordia Publishing House, which is the publishing arm of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Church360 Unite is an all-in-one website builder that gives you the tools to unite your online communication. Unite is actually one of 3 products in the Church360 suite. We chose 360 to remind you of the 360 degrees in a circle, which is the complete coverage of something. In the 360 suite, we have Unite, which we're going to cover today, Church360 members, and that's our administrative tool used to store your members and visitor information, record attendance and offerings, and we have Church360 Ledger, the third component, which is used for bookkeeping and recording financial data. Now, the goal today is not to sell you any of these products, rather to give you a complete overview of our products, more specifically, Unite. Church360 Unite is not just a church website builder, it also has a blogging component, has a member hub to record your member contact data, and this can be synced with either Shepherd staff or Church360 members. We have file sharing, so you can share your pictures, bulletins, or announcements. You can also store your master church calendar, where you can create and display your events. We also have mass emailing feature, and so you can communicate with anyone and even send invitations to the events that you create via email. Now, since Church360 Unite is a website, you can access it anywhere that you have an internet connection. We have secure hosting and backups, free updates, support, and training, and all of these features are included in each of our packages if you decide to purchase Church360 Unite in the future. With all of these features incorporated into Church360 Unite, We've made web design easy for people who either feel intimidated or think designing church websites is difficult. Now, in creating this webinar, I made the following assumptions about you. I assume that you're somewhat familiar with church websites, whether you have a church website there or you've seen some great websites and want to create a similar one for your church. Maybe you've seen some not so great websites and want to see how our software can help you make a more clean and polished website for your site, your church. I'm also going to assume that you're new to Church360 Unite. We found that some people attending these webinars because they're either thinking of moving to Unite for their church website and want to learn more about our features. Others have recently purchased Unite and want to see a broad overview of what the software offers. Finally, assume that you're extremely busy. Like us, you have tons of things to do and not a lot of time to get them done. So we definitely want to respect your time and appreciate you joining us this morning. Explore all the areas of the software, such as adding people, creating events, and pages. We're going to cover the key features such as mobile responsive themes, sending emails, creating calendars, and inviting individuals to the events we create. We're going to cover your questions and answers. And by the end of the webinar, my goal is for you to be able to answer the question how Church360 Unite can help you communicate with your congregation. With all that said, let's get started. So I'm going to switch over to our demo site that we have set up, and hopefully you can see it. I have enlarged this for everyone. And as we go to the login screen, you see that with this, you can enter in a username and password or email address. You can even link your sign-in to a sign-in that you have with Facebook or sign in with a Google account that you have. I'm logged in as an administrator, which gives me access to the top row of buttons that I'm going to go over with you now. I'm going to start with the settings. So this is only available to administrators, and it shows the amount of storage space that you have of your choices, and there are 3 to choose from. We have our church information here, and as you enter in this information, it will show at the footer of your website. So as I click out, and I go to our main screen and come here, all this information here. This is the footer, which reflects what you have entered in your church information section here. Under the Calendars tab, you can create calendars and sync them with your Shepherd staff or Church360 members software. You're able to include events from a Google Calendar as well. If we select down here, we can do that. Also, you can state which calendars can be seen by the administrators only, and only people who have logged in or viewable to anyone there. So any of these calendars that we set up, we can set it so that it can be viewed by individuals if they're logged in or not, or they have to be logged in, or only set for administrators to see. Under the Domain tab, this is used to associate with any existing domain name you have with Unite, and we can host any current domain name that you have, so you enter that and follow these instructions. Under Google Analytics, this tab is used to track who's coming to your website, how many unique visitors you have, what pages they visit, and what sites are bringing individuals to your website. This service is offered by Google, and it is free. For our Shepherd staff customers, this is where you will go to follow the instructions to sync all of your member profiles and calendars with the events to Church360 Unite. In the themes section, we have our different mobile responsive themes here, and you can click to switch and even preview. So as we click here, if you just click and hold, you'll see a preview of how your website will look should you choose the theme. So we have a lot of options. And once again, they are all mobile responsive. So no matter if you're using your cell phone or tablet, you'll be able to have your screen adjust to show everything on your website. Under styles, this is for your fonts, and you can create multiple styles and font styles to have your website consistent. The more you add, I will tell you that it will slow down your load screen. So we have an icon here that will represent how fast or slow it will take your screens to populate based on how many different font styles you have. Now once you pick a theme, you're not stuck with how it's set up. You can customize it. You can change your header color, navigation color, sidebar border, your sidebar color, and if you have a logo, you can upload it here where it will show on your banner. You can change your access color, and here's where you're going to choose your different fonts out of the styles that you have there. For anyone who knows how to read and write code, we do have the advanced option here. And so that's used by anyone who can build sites from scratch. It provides access to CSS and HTML code. But keep in mind, you do not have to use this section to create a great website. Unite can be used by either novices or experienced website developers. Under Edit, this is where when you choose a theme, you would clone it, and that will give you access to the code so you can further customize it. Under the Users tab, this is where we go to add individuals. So if I click Add People here, and I'm just going to make up a name, Joe Smith, and I'll make up an email address. Here I can go and add them in the system, but also if you have a master CSV template, you can import a list of individuals so you don't have to add them one by one. But as I add Joe Smith in the system here, he will go to our list here, and let's search for him. So we have Joe just by typing in his first name here, and as we select them, we can come down here to change role, and we have him as user here, but if we don't want to give him access to the software, we can change him to none, so he cannot log into the software. We can make him a publisher, which means he can edit content. Make him a designer, which means he can edit content and themes, or an administrator has access to everything, including the settings and creating mass email lists. So let's keep him as a user and update that here. Okay. We can list individuals' information, and that will be shown for when you go to the master list of members for the directory, or unlist their contact information, or delete individuals from the list of users. So now let's take a look at the pages. And I'm going to actually take you to the home page here just to show you an edit page layout here. So as we click this button, we have different layout styles here. So we have it on the bar at the top that represents this picture here and the 3 pictures here, but we can change it to any other layouts here. Under the settings, we have established the status for published, but we can change it to draft if we're working on it and we don't want others to see it. The URL name, we'll have it here, and page title, we can change that. And the meta description is a 160 character snippet or a tag that summarizes the content found on the website pages. Now, search engines base their search results on the meta description found on web pages. Now, the categories and pages that are found here also coincides with the meta description. Once you make your changes, you will click Save so that they can be implemented. Now, going to the Pages tab, this is where we go to create new categories and pages. The categories are to the far left here, and once again they are shown across here. But the pages are underneath the categories. And this is our active menu side, so everything that's shown here is seen on our website. Now, this is our available menu items list. So here we have pages that are not active, but maybe these pages are seasonal, like your Christmas page, and when you're ready to show those pages, you will just click and drag them under. So, for example, if I want to activate this sermons page here, I can click, hold, and drag it, and maybe I want to show it under the Welcome tab here. So I'll release it here. I'm going to save my changes. And then as I exit out, then I go under Welcome, then I have my sermons page here. When I'm done with it and I don't want to show it anymore, I'll click and drag it back under here. So today we're going to create a Bible Studies for September page, and we have our options here. If I click here, this will create a new category, and I showed you the categories, but we're going to click Add a Page. And so it gives you access to all of the page options. Each page option gives a brief suggestion of the type of content you should include on the page. So I'm going to click through. This is our feeds page here, and we can do a groups page here, calendar, and once again it gives you brief descriptions of the content you should add to those pages. And we have quite a few options here. I'm not going to click on all of them, but just to show that we have some, quite a few. So I'm going to choose a group page here, being that this is a Bible study page we're going to create. And I'll click Create Page here, and I need to name it. So I'm going to name it September Bible Study. And I'll hit Enter. Now I'm going to drag this under. I have a Bible study category. Let's see, right here. And so I'm going to click and drag that under here. And as you see with the creation of the page, it's set to members only, meaning that an individual has to have a login that you add for them, and they have to be logged in to be able to see this page here. Now below are some options for that are available for all the pages that we create. When I'm ready to publish this page, I'll click Publish. I can click Make a Draft if I'm adding content to this page and I don't want others to be able to see it. If I want to delete the page, I'll click Delete here. If I click Public, then this page can be seen whether or not you're logged into the website, or Private makes this Members Only tab appear, and I can also duplicate pages as well. I'm going to add some content to the September Bible Studies page, so I'm going to save my changes here. And we have our page here under this category as I moved it. And so because this is a group page, I have some options here. So under the Discussion tab, This thread is used for members to talk privately and share ideas. So I can, for example, type something like, who would be able to bring coffee to the next Bible study? And I can enter that. And so I can post that. Or we can use this section for prayer requests. Or we can even make announcements where you can enter things that don't require a reply, but are important for group members to know. For example, if Bible studies class has a time change, we can enter that information here. Under the Events tab, it takes us to our calendar where we can create new events. So here, this is only going to be visible for our users. So let's go ahead and create a new event by clicking here. And we're going to title it September Bible Studies. Now here I'm going to enter in my location. And then my start date. So I'm going to have it start Sunday the 3rd. And we're going to have it start at, let's say, 9:30 a.m. And I'm going to have it ending the 24th. And we're going to keep it at 10:30 a.m. here. Now, another way I could have done this is I can say that it repeats, and I have my options every single through 6th week, month, or year. We'll keep it on week, have it on Sunday, and I could have entered in my date here as well for the 24th. I can enter in a description here. I'm going to say a reading from the book of Mark. Enter that. I can even send invitations. So as I click here, I am the only one that's in this group, but I can add more members and send invitations to those individuals here, which I'll do shortly. But also I can send reminders as well, and I have all of my options here. And the great thing about these options for reminders, the recipients can choose to turn off receiving those reminders at any time, similar to Evite if you have used that at any time. So I'll click Create Event here. Now under my Members tab, this is where I go to add more members to this group. So I have two options. I can add members, which brings them right in, or I can invite them. And sending an invitation gives an individual the opportunity to accept that invite or reject it. So I'm going to add a couple of individuals here. So I have a list of everyone that's in the system. I'm just going to click some names. And we'll do a couple more. Howard and Larry. So these individuals are automatically added into this group here. Under the Edit Group tab, I can change the name of my group here. And then have my description as well. And I can also add new pages. And so this will create a website within a website. So I'll title a couple pages here. And so this will be a new page here. And I have my group details at the bottom. And this limits who can see what section of your group page. And so I'll go through the options. So for discussions, events, and members, I can hide it or have it visible to group leaders only, or only group members, or only Unite users, or I can make it public. Once again, this will show whether individuals are logged in or not. So my discussion page, maybe that's something I'm going to have just for my group leaders. Events, I'm going to have that for Unite users, and members, I'll have that only for group members. I have my options of who can join this group page, and I can keep it on anyone who is logged into the site or only people who I've invited. So let's change it here, and I can update here. Okay, so let me go back to the calendar page, and that's in the settings. So under my calendars, we can filter out and select what calendars we want visible on our website. Let me actually go back to it this way. So under my calendars tab here, I have access to all the calendars I've created in my settings, but here's where I can select what calendar and events under those calendars that I want shown. So I have September Bible Study selected here, and as I change my month to September, now I have that option here. If I want to add a new calendar name, I can once again go to the settings under calendar and add a new calendar name. So I'm going to name this one Test 3 and create that calendar name. Now here, as I select it and I click on it, then I have my options. Now it's set now for no one can see this but me, but I can change it to users or everyone, meaning that you don't have to be logged in or not. So I'm going to change this to users, and I'll save that change here. I can even change my color, which will show how it shows on my calendar and the events, just to customize it. So we come here and just refresh my screen. I'm going to see if that Test 3 calendar shows up here. And it is here. So I'm going to go and cover feeds. So I click on my announcement page. That's where we have our feeds here. And I have a, if I click my edit page option here, I have some options. I can create a new feed here and show how many posts I want shown per page. So it's on 2 now, but I can change it to 3 and higher. I can show my post content by clicking here. I can allow comments and moderate which comments come in. So I'll save that here. And let's see here. Let's create a new feed here as well. So as I click in, I have access to my WYSIWYG editor, and I can label this post. And the WYSIWYG editor stands for what you see is what you get, and you have all your options here. If I want to add an image, I can do so. So I'll click right here, and I have options here. And I have a Bible study type picture that I've created here. I can go to advanced and change here my ratio, and that picture comes in, and I can click create, and I have that post that's here, and so it shows here. As I go to my posts in my section here, only for administrators, I have access to all of my feeds. And so my September Bible study feed that I created under announcements, I have it here. The status is draft. I can select here and I can change it to published. It's on draft now. I can delete it or change the feed. I'm going to go ahead and publish that. And that means it will be shown for everyone to see. If I go back to my Users tab here, I have access once again to everyone in the system under Users, but if I click on Mailing List, then I have access to my mailing list that I've created, which can have groups or individuals, and I can create more mailing lists. So if I click Create Mailing List here, I want to title it first. And I'll click Create Mailing List, and I have this list here. So as I click on it, and I click this box, I have access to everyone that's in the system here. So I'm going to add a couple of individuals here. Now remember, I created the group September Bible Study, and I added members there, so I can add them here as well. And once I'm done, I'll click Save. Now the great thing about this section here, if I want to email any of these groups, I will select, so I'm going to select September Bible Study Group. I'll click Email. And it will bring up your default email provider that you have for the device you are using. It's a relay system, which means the email that you send will go to our servers first and then go out to those individuals one by one. It will bypass their junk and spam folders, so it does not show as spam or even a group email. The individuals who receive this email will only have the option to reply back to you. So we're going to select, click out of here, not save that. In the Activity tab, we have comments. So if someone has made comments to a feed, maybe you've posted a sermon, you can have it set so it comes here so you can approve or delete those comments. As we go to the Event Log tab, we have access for the administrators, and as you see today, I've added Joe Smith, so that's today's date here, and then you also have dates and users, records, and descriptions of what has been done by any other individual in the past, and once again, administrators have access here. Great thing about this section, we have an email log as well. So if you ever send an email, you don't have to wonder if it was received or not. If it fails, it will show you that. If it was delivered, it will show that as well. So that covers all the main features of Unite. We're going to cover any questions and answers, give answers that you may have. Let me switch back. So let me take this time to just check here and see if there are any questions. Give me one moment. Now, we had some issues earlier with people being able to see and hear me. I do apologize for that, but it seems like we have that covered. So I'll just wait a little bit and see if any questions come in. I do want to point out that with all of our software in the Church360 suite, you can work with the software free for 30 days. So if you want to work with a free trial of Church360 Unite, just go to church360unite.com and you'll be able to fill in your information to start a 30-day free trial. Also, the purpose of this webinar was not for sales at all. It's just to cover the features and give an overview of what the software can do. However, we currently have a promotion running on right now for all Church360 products. If you purchase before the end of this month, so if you purchase before close of business, August 31st, you will save on the startup fee, which is $199 on all Church360 products. So I do want to make you aware of that, but once again, this is not a sales presentation. But once again, if you do want to work with our software free for 30 days, which I highly recommend, you can start a 30-day free trial. I'm going to bring up my contact information one more time. So if you have any questions beyond this webinar, we understand that sometimes after the webinar a question pops up that you didn't think of during the webinar. You can feel free to reach out to me directly. If you have any questions that you can't reach me on, you can also contact our software support line, and they are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock. That's Central Time. And here's their toll-free number at the bottom. But you can reach me at stephen.jenkins@cph.org, or you can reach me toll-free at 1-800-325-2399. I'm just looking over at my dialog box just to check and see if there are any questions. I don't see any questions at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Keeping my contact information up for a couple more minutes though before I completely terminate, just to give you time to write down my contact information if you do have any questions. Okay, hopefully you were able to take down my contact information. So if you have any questions, don't feel free to follow up with me or the software support line. And once again, this is Stephen Jenkins signing off. I hope everyone has a wonderful and blessed day. Take care.